So today we have started the short history of drama. History of drama. In this lesson, the part of that we have continued here. Introduction of English theatre. Drama has the original in the folk theatre. We therefore cannot consider drama merely as a part of literature. Words are the medium of literature as art, but drama is multiple art using the words, scenic effect, music, gestures of the actors, and organizing the talent of the producer. The drama must have the players, a stage, on an audience. Introduction of the theatre. Drama has its original in folk theatre. The word folk means people. Drama is presented in the theaters, and that is the particularly in that origin of that. We cannot consider the merely as a part of literature. The medium of literature, but drama is multiple art using the words. In drama have scenic effect, music, gestures, actor, organizing, talent, and producer. Drama must have place, a stage, and ऑडियन्स. तर छोटीशी आपण इथं इंट्रोडक्शन या थिएटरबद्दल करतोय. हे लोकांच्या पहिल्यांदा सुरुवातीला हा ड्रामा लोकांपुढे हा तिथं एका स्टेजवरती तो प्रेझेंट व्हायचा. लिटरेचरचा हा एक अविभाज्य घटक आहे आणि ड्रामामध्ये अशा असंख्य गोष्टी एक्सप्रेस होतात. त्याच्यात सिनिक इफेक्ट, म्युझिक, गेस्चर्स, actors and organized talent are producers. And drama must have players, stage and audience. Three things are very important for the drama. The beginning of the drama in England are obscure, and there is evidence to be believed that Roman were in England. They established vast amphitheaters for the producers of plays, but when the Roman departed, their theatre departed with them. So in that beginning of the England, the drama became obscure. And whenever the Romans was in England, the amphitheater they are produced, but when Romans departed, the theatre also departed them. In the beginning, the drama is not the good conditions. तर जेव्हा रोमन इंग्लंडमध्ये होते तोपर्यंत त्यांनी ॲम्फी थिएटर्स वगैरे ते बनवलेले होते, आणि जेव्हा ते गेले त्यांच्यासोबत ते सुद्धा घेऊन गेलेत, म्हणजे बंद पडला एकंदरीत म्हणायचं. देर वर द minstrels, people enjoys their performance. Gradually by 10th century of ritual of the players that itself had something dramatic in it go extended into the rudiment of a play. Between 13th and 14th century, drama started having themes which were separated from religion. The words themselves were spoken in English. A longer dramatic script came into use, and they were called the miracle plays. Later, these religions drama were the mortality plays, and the characters were abstract, wise, and virtuous. These are allegories. So dramas are mainly gradually performed on that the enjoyment of the peoples. 10th centuries, the players had itself dramatic it ends, and 13th and 14th century, drama started having themes separated from religions, and the spoken in English they have the script came to use, and these were called miracle plays. Religious drama, morality plays in which characters obscure vice and versa, that's allegory. तर 10व्या शतकामध्ये हे रिडियम ऑफ प्ले रिच्युअल्स प्लेस परफॉर्म करत असायचे. 13व्या आणि 14व्या शतकामध्ये द ड्रामा सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम रिलिजन्स. आणि त्याच्यानंतर इंग्लिशमध्ये स्क्रिप्ट आणि ते यूज करायला लागत आणि त्या सगळ्यांना मिरॅकल प्लेस म्हणत होते. रिलिजियस ड्रामा त्यांच्यामधून बऱ्याच व्हाईस अँड वर्सेस कॅरेक्टर्स प्रेझेंट व्हायचे आणि त्यांना सगळ्यांना आपल्याला ॲलेगरी म्हणतो. Elizabethan and Restoration Theatre. These secular morality plays have been directly linked with Elizabethan plays. The Renaissance imposed a learned traditional classical in-depth of theme of education, general moral problems, secular politics. The play had nothing to do with the religions. There were the example of both comedy and tragedy. Thomas Kidd, Christopher Marlowe, William Shakespeare are the prime dramatists of this era. In Elizabethan and Renaissance theatre that directly link with the Elizabethan players. So in that particular dramas are learned the traditional theatres, the theme of education, moral problems and secular politics. This particularly the drama based on Elizabethan and Restoration period, and the plays had nothing to do with religions on that times. For example, comedy and tragedy presented in the drama in that specific period or era. The most famous characters in that Elizabethan period, Thomas Kidd, Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare are the prime dramatists in the area. Elizabethan and Restoration theater या कालखंडामध्ये सगळ्या गोष्टी मॉर्टॅलिटी प्लेस डायरेक्ट लिंक ही इलिझाबेथन प्लेयर्सची होती. तर त्याच्यातून आपल्याला त्याच्या थीम होत्या ते क्लासिकल आणि ट्रॅडिशनल होत्या. त्याच्यामध्ये एज्युकेशन, मॉरल प्रॉब्लेम्स अँड सिक्युअर पॉलिटिकल्स. आणि त्या कालखंडामध्ये रिलिजन्सवरती जास्त प्रमाणात भर दिली गेली नाही आणि सगळ्यात जास्त कॉमेडी आणि ट्रॅजेडी या गोष्टींकडे लक्ष दिले. आणि त्यांच्यात फेमस हे ड्रामॅटिस्ट थॉमस किड, क्रिस्टोफर मार्लो, विलियम शेक्सपियर हे होते. इट वॉज अ किड who discovered how easily blank verse might to be converted into useful theatrical medium, which Shakespeare used brilliantly in all his plays. Tragedy developed in the hands of Keats and Marlowe. Comedy had also proceeded beyond the rustic humours, but by 19th of 16th century, the theatre of England was fully established and complicated conditions governed the activity of the dramatist. So the kid who discovered the blank verse and that convert useful theatrical mediums which Shakespeare used brilliantly in his plays. Tragedy developed in the hands of Keats and Marlowe. Comedy also proceed beyond the rustic humor. In 16th of 19th century, theatres of England fully established but complicated condition govern the activity of dramatist. तर किड्स यांनी ब्लँक वर्स डिस्कवर केलं आणि थिएटरमध्ये जास्तीत जास्त ब्रिलियंटली शेक्सपियर त्यांनी त्याच्या नाटकामध्ये यूज केलेत. आणि ट्रॅजेडी ही किड्स अँड मार्लो यांनी डेव्हलप केली जास्त प्रमाणात. कॉमेडी हॅज द प्रोसीड द रस्टिक ह्युमर. In 1960 century, the theatre of English was established, but complicated condition has governed the activity of dramatist. तर यांनी एक ब्लँक वर्स किड या ड्रामॅटिस्टने शोधून काढली. शेक्सपियरने ती चांगल्या पद्धतीने वापरली त्यांच्या प्लेयर्समध्ये. आणि किड्स अँड मार्लो हे जास्त प्रमाणात त्यांनी ट्रॅजेडी ही डेव्हलप केली. आणि कॉमेडीसुद्धा त्यांच्या याच्यामध्ये ड्रामांमधून आपल्याला दिसून येते. काही सेंचुरीमध्ये इंग्लंडमध्ये थिएटर्स हे फुल्ली इस्टॅब्लिश झाले, पण गव्हर्नमेंटने काही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड कंडिशन्स या ड्रामावरती त्यांच्या अडचण येऊ लागल्या. Public theatre of 16th century different in many important ways from the modern theatres. It was open to the sky without artificial lighting. The stage was a raised platform with a recess at the back supported by pillars. There was no curtain and main platform could be surrounded on three sides by the audience. Around the theatre there were galleries. In the 17th century, include the theatre gains the importance. There was increasing attention to scenic device as the theatre became private. In public theatre in 16th centuries, there are different importance from the modern theatres. It was open sky. There is no artificial lighting on stage, and the access the platform in supported by pillars, no curtains, and maintain the surrounding three sides of audience who can saw that the dramatists who perform. Theatres were a gallery in 17th century enclosed the theatre gained importance and increased attention scenic device and theater became private. 16व्या शतकात बऱ्याच अशा गोष्टी आपल्याला मॉडर्न थिएटरपेक्षा बघायला मिळतात. ओपन स्काय म्हणजे पूर्ण एका स्टेजवरती त्याला मागून पडदा वरून पडदा नसतो. विदाऊट आर्टिफिशियल लाईटिंग, तर लाईटिंगसुद्धा वापरलेले नसायचे. स्टेज राईज प्लॅटफॉर्म अँड सपोर्टेड द पिलर्स. नो कर्टन. द मेन प्लॉट surrounding three side audience seat, and around theaters there were galleries. In 17th century gained the importance on that dramas and theaters became the private in 17th century. तर 16व्या शतकातली थिएटरची जे डिफरन्सेस बघितलेत मॉडर्न थिएटरपेक्षा, ओपन काय उघड्यावरती म्हणजेच ओपन प्लेसवरती, तिथं आर्टिफिशियल लाईट नसायचे, कर्टन नसायचे आणि पिलर्सचा सपोर्ट घेऊन ते तिथं असायचे. थ्री साईड्स द ऑडियन्स, तिघं बाजूने ऑडियन्स ते बघू शकतील व्ह्यूज. आणि थिएटर्स वर द गॅलरीज, आणि गॅलरीसुद्धा तिथं 17th सेंचुरीमध्ये ड्रामाला चांगले दिवस उगवलेत आणि प्रॉपरली ते थिएटर्स प्रायव्हेटसुद्धा होऊन गेलेत आणि त्याच्यामुळे भरभराटी ही सुद्धा मोठ्या प्रमाणात मिळाली. Shakespearean's era come into existence of 16th century, the public theatres. He wrote from the contemporary theatres manipulating the Elizabethan stage, the great resource and inventions. But the genius of Shakespeare should not allow to rest of drama of his age to be obscured. Contemporary to him was Ben Jonson, classicist and moralist and reformers of drama. 16th century, the Shakespearean period, and that has performed in public theatres. So he wrote the contemporary theatres, Elizabethan stage. He get the resources and inventions, but genius Shakespeare should not allow to rest of drama his age obscured. Ben Jonson has to be developed the classical and moralist reformers of drama. 16व्या शतक हा शेक्सपियरचा पिरियड म्हणून ओळखला जातो आणि पब्लिक थिएटर्समध्ये ते परफॉर्म करायचे. त्यांनी असंख्य ड्रामाज लिहिलेत, पण एलिझाबेथन पिरियडवरती त्यांना रिसोर्सेस आणि इन्व्हेन्शनसुद्धा भरपूर मिळाल्यात. पण जीनियस शेक्सपियरला त्यांनी जे ड्रामा लिहिलेत ते परफॉर्म करण्यासाठी बरेच ते एजमध्ये त्याला संधी मिळाली नाही. आणि बेन जॉन्सन यांनी क्लासिस्ट अँड मॉडर्निस्ट रिफॉर्मर्स ऑफ ड्रामा इन्व्हेंट केलेत. इन कॉमेडी, Johnson's genius is found best, and his influence was considerable. The Restoration's dramatists leaned strongly upon him. The Johnson became the genius and best influence in the around the people, and he became very best comedian. Restoration dramatist learned the strong upon him. आणि जॉन्सन चांगल्या पद्धतीने ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी हँडल करत होता आणि तो त्याचा इन्फ्लुएन्स लोकांवरती सुद्धा चांगल्या पद्धती. थिएटर closing the theatre by the Puritans in 1642 brought this great of all periods and in the history of English drama to be end. With the Civil War, no theatre exists between 1642 to 1660. The next phase, which appeared after the restorations, produced very different kind of the dramatist literature. Dramatists like Chapman, Thomas, Middleton, Webster, and Dekkers were at forefront. In particular, 1642 to 16, the Puritan has to be closed the theatres. The Civil Wars had no theatre existing in that Pacific period. The which appeared the restorative produced very different kind of literary dramatist. In that particular period, Chapman, Thomas Midas, Webster and Dekkers were forefront. तर 1942व्या वर्षी प्युरिटन्सने थिएटर्स हे पूर्णपणे बंद केलेत आणि त्याच वेळेस इंग्लिश ड्रामासुद्धा त्या पिरियडमध्ये बंद पडला. सिव्हिल वॉरमध्ये 1642 ते 1660मध्ये थिएटरला परवानगी देण्यात आली नाही. अँड नेक्स्ट phase appear the restoration products the different kind of dramatic literature. तर त्याच्यामध्ये in that particular dramatist whose name like Chapman, Thomas Middleton, Webster and Dekkers हे नाव त्यांची होती. When Charles II came back with restoration of 1660, the theatre were reopened. The restoration comedy achieved its peculiar excellence. Drama develops into the class drama with upper class ethos. It lasted beyond this period into the first decade of 18th century. Comedy is the early 18th century decline into the sentimentalism. It became the comedy of manner. George Etheridge was the most important exponent from such depth of drama, was rescued by the Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Sheridan. In 1660, Charles II has came with the restorations. Theatre were reopened. Restoration comedy achieved in peculiar excellence. Drama developed for the upper class. Beyond this period, the 18th century, the first period became decline. Comedy in the 18th century declined into sentimentalism, and that it became the comedy of manner. George Etheridge was the most important person for his that particular era. From this depth, Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Sheridan was rescued. तर चार्ल्स सेकंड हा 1660मध्ये पुन्हा तिथं ड्रामासाठी थिएटर ओपन त्यांनी केलेत. रेस्टोरेशन कॉमेडीज साठी त्यांनी बऱ्याच गोष्टी एक्सलन्ससुद्धा इन्व्हेंट केल्यात. ड्रामामध्ये त्यांनी अपर क्लाससाठी त्यांनी जनरली ड्रामा हे प्रेझेंट करण्यास सुरुवात केली. इन द फर्स्ट ऑफ डिकेड 18th centuries, the comedy has started decline into the sentimentalisms. The comedy of manner, जॉर्ज इथर्स यांना प्रमुख म्हणून ओळखल्या जातात. ऑलिव्हर गोल्डस्मिथ अँड रिचर्ड शेरिडॅन यांनी सुद्धा बऱ्याच गोष्टी ड्रामाच्या शोधून काढल्यात आणि त्या डेप्थपर्यंत गेलेत. विथ शेरिडॅन, समथिंग इज ब्रिलियन्स अँड रेस्टोरेशन डायलॉग्स written into the comedy but with more genius atmosphere. The characters were firmly represented with clarity, reminiscent of Johnson but with no depth of Sheridan's word, no new interpretation of human natures. In this, he was nearly the Oscar Wilde to the Johnsons. Sheridan became the brilliant dramatist. He invented good kind of the dialogue into comedy, but more genius atmosphere he created. Characters were firmly presented with clarity, Millicent and Johnson's with no depth and Sheridan's world. New interpretation of human natures, and he had to work near to Oscar Wilde and Johnson. तर शरीराने बऱ्याच गोष्टी अत्यंत बौद्धिक क्षमतेने डायलॉग्स कन्वर्टेड इंटू कॉमेडीज अँड मोर जिनियस ॲटमॉस्फिअर ही क्रिएटेड. चांगल्या पद्धतीने सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांनी व्यवस्थित केल्यात अँड फर्मली ही प्रेझेंटेड द क्लॅरिटी मिनिसेंट अँड जॉन्सन्स. पण तो जास्त प्रमाणात त्या ड्राम्याच्या खोलात ड्राम्याच्या वर्ल्डमध्ये जाऊ शकला. हा जो रायटर होता शेरिडन, ऑस्कर वाइल्ड अँड जॉन्सन यांच्या जवळपास त्याचं हे कार्य होतं. न्यू मॉडर्न थिएटर्स विल बी डिस्कस इन अनदर व्हिडिओ. थँक्यू.